a last stand against the AI-powered cyborg gay frog, according to the most experienced. Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about some plate carrier setups. So before you go messing with plate carriers, it's important to get a gun belt set up. First and foremost, I'm going to be putting out a video just based on gun belt setups and what's out there, what's available, and why we set them up this way. For the gun belt setup, you've got your holster and your independent first aid kit. It's been recommended to me by professionals to keep your tourniquet in its own enclosed carrier, protecting it from UV rays specifically. Moving down the line, I've got a 5.56 mag carrier and 3 pistol mag carriers. Under the 5.56 carrier, I've got the dump pouch. It's super low profile, weaves in behind the 5.56 mag carrier. Now we'll get into the brands available and the contents of your IFAK and stuff like that later, but for now we're gonna work on plate carrier setups. Now it's important to remember that I'm not some kind of gun snob and I have no military or law enforcement background whatsoever. Everything that I know and that I put into practice, I'm copying off the smartest kid I know's paper. And before I started taking advice, I wasted a lot of money on shit like this. The airsoft grade plate carriers and the steel armor just simply do not work. They are not the most efficient way to go about things. You're not buoyant positive, and that is a factor here in the Ozarks. You can take one wrong step in these woods and end up in a creek. The last thing you need are a couple of anchors strapped to your chest. I'm not even going to get into the spalling and all the other debate. I'm just here to copy the professionals. The professionals say no, end of story. Now the truth is, according to most professionals, if you're in a combat situation, your most efficient setup is going to be a chest rig. I've got 5 mags on this chest rig, or you can run orthodox Rhodesian. Either one, they're super efficient, they're lightweight, they keep you mobile. However, there are times where you want your center mass to be protected from small arms fire. Now, the last thing I want to do on this channel is tell a bunch of people to go out and panic buy tactical shit. Now, if you're setting up a rig like this, I'm going to assume that you already have a solid mid-tier or higher rifle and sidearm, a gun belt, and enough ammo to feed it so you can train with it. And the last thing I want to do is leave you guys with some kind of vague solution like, just make more money, bro. It's not that simple. We all know it's not that simple. So let me show you some methods that might help out. I'm not a gun snob or a kit snob. I'm a professional poor. So I go on tack swap, I get secondhand stuff. I piece together each one of these rigs one piece at a time over the years. You're not looking at a single shopping spree, you're looking at trial and error, and you're looking at different applications. So you might ask yourself, why would I prefer an issued, used, and salty plate carrier over a newer Chinese plate carrier, even if they were the same color? Well, outside of the quality factors, the stitching, the way the whole thing will hold together, we've got NIR ratings. That's near infrared ratings. That means that the threads in this plate carrier that was issued are not going to reflect your IR signature like a Chinese plate carrier would. Now, if you already ended up with a Chinese plate carrier like I did when I was 19, you could try to spray paint it. And believe it or not, this thing has 0 infrared signature under night vision. However, it looks like crap and it's still made like crap. So this goes in the bucket for my friends to borrow when we're training. Your absolute baseline is going to be previous issued gear. You can get a plate carrier like this for 50 bucks on Marketplace. Now I've got this surplus rig set up basically just to give to a buddy if the only thing stopping them from getting involved is financially related. I got this thing dirt cheap from somebody that was just offloading their old trash gear. And these RMA plates, they are probably the best bang for your buck on the market right now. However, they're pretty heavy. So when it comes to RMA plates, they might be buoyant positive, level 4 and ceramic, but they weigh just as much as a solid sheet of steel. Now, before we get into the brands and models that professionals recommend today, I'm going to show you an unconventional option that I've been using for years that works pretty well. So what I like to do, especially when I've got a buddy looking to get into a plate carrier and doesn't have a lot to spend, I'll get on Facebook Marketplace, Tack Swap, or Arms List, and I'll just scroll looking for military surplus stuff. And what you're looking for are plate carriers like this. the more wraparound body armor, IOTV, IMTV, issued plate carriers. And sometimes you might find them in digital UCP. Either one works. Now, the reason you're looking for these plate carriers is because of what's inside them. Now, you can get these old issued kits on Marketplace for under 300 bucks. Somebody's grandma's selling it off, somebody's nephew inherited it and doesn't know what to do with it. So it's just junk to them, it's memorabilia. Pick it up and I'll show you what's inside. Inside those old issued kits, you're gonna find a couple of these. And these are ballistic panels rated for small arms fire like 9mm and fragmentation. I'll show you what we do with these in a second. Just kidding, I'm gonna show you what to do with them now because I could not find a better place to splice this part into the video. So what you can do with those ballistic panels is slide them right in behind the padding on your kids' car seats. Now, I really doubt that your kids are ever going to be taking fire. I really pray that they never do. But otherwise, like this panel would just be sitting in the bottom of my closet otherwise. You know what I mean? So this is just one thing that I'm like, hey, that's better than it sitting in the bottom of the closet. And who knows, you know, in an accident, shrapnel can fly at high velocity and that might actually come in handy. So there's a use for that. Another use I've been really thinking about that hopefully someone else will actually put into action is some kind of drape over armor for horses. I think it'd be cool to armor my horse up with with those extra ballistic panels, mostly just for fun, but who knows, maybe it could be applicable. The other thing you'll find in there are the issued plates. These were specifically manufactured by Ceradyne, and you'll find some side plates too, both of which have what we would consider as civilians a level 4 rating. The military plates, they don't have NIJ ratings, but they're rated for 762 APM2. So a lot of these you have to be careful though when you get older ones. If it's digital UCP, you have to check out the plates because a lot of them are ICW plates. That means in conjunction with, and that means you need a 3A backer in order for it to maintain that protection level. But the reality is, at under 6 pounds per plate, buoyant positive, they are an excellent option, especially if you're a guy that has like Hesco L210s when they bought into the hype. This is a much better alternative for cheaper. And I've managed to pull off a purchase of old issued plates 9 separate times in the last 6 years. So I know it's doable, and that's all local to me. I've only had one set of plates actually mailed to me. Everyone else was within a 40-mile radius. So let's take a look at some different kit setups for different applications. A lot of people are familiar with the soft armor vests that you can wear under your clothing. That's great covert armor. Another option that I really like when weather permits is the Bulletproof Everyone hoodie. These have, I think it's 12 by 14 inches of coverage, front and back, level 3A rating, and that's gonna stop up to a 44 Magnum. Rocking this hoodie when I'm going out to events, it just adds a level of protection that isn't uncomfortable whatsoever. And the reason I like it a little bit more than just running a vest, a soft armor vest underneath, is because the soft armor vest is constantly attached to you. Where this, you can lift it up and air it out a little bit, and it's not so heavy where it's going to be shifting all over the place. It's a really good product. And next up on the scale for covert protection would be a slick plate carrier. This is a Faro Concept Slickster. As you can see, it's pretty low profile, fits flat to your chest. You don't have mags up front. I put hydration on the back of mine, but you really don't need any attachments whatsoever. You can run it under a winter jacket, but it's just super low profile and it's not going to be bulky, and obviously it's going to be applicable to the situation. It all depends on what you're doing with this plate carrier. So this setup is going to be geared towards being low profile, easy to maneuver. I can throw it in and out of the truck without it grabbing on stuff, not getting caught up on twigs or branches, and I can also wear it underneath heavier winter coats. I'm still getting the military body armor rating equivalent of a level 4 protection. This kit also has previously issued Ceradyne plates. Next up, we've got the Velocity Systems Mayflower rig. This setup is also going to be geared towards being low profile and staying mobile. I've got the S-Tac triple mag placard up front, and I've put the Faro Concept Slickster cummerbund on the sides. These have built-in mag carriers, and they're super low profile, super slick. One good formula that I've picked up is that when you're setting up your plate carrier, if you're going to be with friends who also have plate carriers, then you can run a back panel. Maybe keep some medical supplies, ammo, and the like. However, if you're not in the military, you're not training with other guys, and you're just a family man responsible of other little lives that are not going to help you in combat, you need to use the backside for hydration at most. If not, leave it blank. Now you're going to hear special forces guys, highly ranked guys, a lot of credentials, they're going to disagree with a lot of this stuff. And the reason being is because they have been trained to operate where they are being dropped off at their location, they're doing their job that they're paid for, and then they're getting picked up. So we don't have that luxury. We might be stuck on foot with our only chance of survival being making more distance between us and the enemy. So based on professional input, this kit is set up for in case I have my friends with me. I've got a back panel with extra gear that they can access for me. I'm not going to be taking off my armor in order to access my back panel. If you're in a situation where you need to do that, you probably set your kit up wrong. Now this rig is designed to be run with a gun belt. All I've got is a tourniquet in my dangler pouch. Everything else that I need that's part of my kit would be on my belt. However, we don't always have the luxury of keeping a fully rigged gun belt on us at all times and a plate carrier. So here's my solution for that. This is an S-Tac Deodon plate carrier. This is set up for where I have to go long distances, but I don't have friends with me to access a back panel. That's why it's got a hydration pack on the back. Right now I don't have a bladder in it, but normally the hose is managed through these Crye shoulder straps and down to a clip. So this is going to be one of my favorite setups. I've got LTC level 4 plates in it. I've got the Deodon cummerbund, super low profile. There's no mag carriers on it. However, it's quick on, quick off with the Cobra buckles and super convenient. Now I've got the Agilite 6-pack on this thing with a multi-tool in it and a tourniquet. And then around back, I've got the Faro Concepts Roll 1. This is going to be a first aid kit that's mounted on the plate carrier rather than your belt. So if I don't have time to grab my belt, lid, plate carrier, rifle, sidearm, I don't have time for all that. I'm grabbing this plate carrier and a rifle. And I know that I can at least put up a good fight with that. This rig is going to be super lightweight. I can run miles in it. I've got hydration on the back, and I can run it with or without my gun belt. Moving on to our next setup, we've got my personal favorite, the Crye JPC 2.0. Probably the most tried and true plate carrier on the market today. Now I've got this set up to maximize armor coverage on my body. In case you haven't been paying attention to the Ukrainian war, most of the casualties now are coming from shrapnel due to drones and artillery rounds. So with that in mind, I'll give you kind of a rundown of what kind of protection we're getting out of this setup. Starting at the bottom, we've got the level 3A ballistic dick flap. If you have a dick, you need one. All the guys in Ukraine are also running the butt flaps too. They're saying that that is super important over there, especially when it comes to getting down and sitting in the mud. It'll actually keep your butt dry. A lot of those guys are putting pads on the backs of their plate carriers to dangle down. So those are just a few little things to keep in mind. But this is going to have a ballistic rating of what a civilian would say would be level 3A. It's going to stop 9mm. It's going to stop fragmentation. So it's definitely something that is useful. And if you don't like it, you can always just tuck it up behind your plates and it rides like that just fine. Now moving up, we've got the Coyote Dangler pouch, and this is going to have the Hoplite level 3+ ballistic plate. This weighs less than a pound and it's hard armor. This is going to prevent gut shots and obviously shrapnel. For plates, we've got a set of previously issued LTC level 4 ballistic plates. And then on the sides, we've got the Crye Precision soft armor level 3A ballistic panels. So this is going to give us a rating of up to 44 Magnum on our rib sections here. And obviously, once again, it's going to protect us from shrapnel. On my back, I've got the Whiskey 2.4 hydration pack, and I've got a radio on my cummerbund. That's a Yaesu VX6R. That's your next step up from Baofeng if you ever decide to get serious about comms. Moving along on the armor, we've got the level 3A Crye Precision trap armor shoulder pads. These are going to give you a ballistic rating for up to 44 Magnum, and they're going to prevent shrapnel from completely making your arm useless. These actually do two things for me. Aside from just adding to the amount of protection and coverage on my body, they actually give a rigid but soft support on the shoulder pads, which distributes the weight a lot better across a wider area. I wear it 8 hours at a time and no complaints, I'm not dying. And another thing that I added was the First Spear plate backers. They're like pads that have ridges to allow airflow, and that makes it a lot more comfortable. And if you're going and getting in the creek and the lake and you're getting wet, it helps dry it out a lot faster. That's what I found anyway. And of course, I've got the S-Tac 55556 placard. I'm a big fan of these. One other little thing I did on this setup was added the MOS Tactical First Spear tube cummerbund on the right side. This is going to allow me to peel this thing off quick. If I all of a sudden end up in water and I'm getting weighted down, having trouble treading water, doff the armor. That's kind of the mentality around that. Now, if you don't live around a body of water, quick on and off might not be as big of a deal to you. But another aspect is if you get doused in some kind of flammable liquid, like after a vehicle crash, and you happen to be wearing your armor, if it's doused and it's on fire, your best chance of not getting completely charred is to get it off you as quick as possible. So those are just a couple little aspects to keep in mind when you're setting up your rig. And for our last plate carrier setup, we've got the London Bridge modular plate carrier. If you ever served in the military, there's a possibility that you were issued one of these. They're still issuing them today. Now, if you go Googling these plate carriers, you're gonna see they're like $700 on Optics Planet. However, London Bridge subcontracts the assembly to the Peruvians sometimes for a sub-brand called LBX. And the LBX plate carriers go on sale for $99 all the time. Now, because I'm a cheap bastard and I already had a million other plate carriers, but I really wanted one in God's Plaid, which is M81 Woodland for normal people, that's where I got this one. This one's set up to be the most heavy duty it can be while still being practical, somewhat. I've got it set up with the quad Kiwi placard from S-Tac and admin dangler down here. I've got the MOS Tactical side plate bags, and they're holding previously issued Ceradyne level 4 side plates. And then I've got an OPS hydration panel on the back. Now, a lot of people think it's better to just have the highest armor rating they can get all the way around, the most coverage, and that makes them safer, but that's not necessarily true. If I was in a vehicle and we got T-boned or in a rollover, these side plates in this configuration could likely snap my arm. They could break bones. Depending on which direction we're getting impacted, they can break my ribs. They're in very low profile carriers here. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. It's not always bullets that you're thinking of when you're setting up your kit. Now, it might seem like a little overkill, but this one's actually a dedicated setup geared towards a last stand against AI-powered gay frog cyborgs sent from the globalists. However, we've got at least a few more months before we're at that point, so for now we're going to focus on practical applications geared towards defensive measures from psychopathic humans. When it comes to this subject matter, bad advice can literally get someone killed. That's why the only thing I'll ever recommend on this channel are mid-tier or higher standards. Anything low tier or inefficient or designed to help you cope with your shitty purchase is going to be scoffed at and spit on around here. And again, I'm not telling you to just spend more money or just make more money. Half my shit is used. There are other methods that keep you in the same financial bracket on money spent, but the quality goes 10 times higher. Now, a lot of people are still confused about why we want to eliminate our IR signature. A lot of people are still stuck 20 years back where they would say, oh, the only time someone's looking at you with night vision is if you've got the special forces going against you and, you know, it's already bad then, you're screwed anyway. Well, things have actually changed a lot. In case you haven't noticed, every doorbell in America, every house with home security, every Tesla, they're all equipped with infrared assisted night vision. So if your adversaries happen to have CCTV surveillance and you're trying to get silly at nighttime, you're gonna light up like a traffic cone across a field. In my upcoming night vision video, I'll give you a visual example of what different gear looks like under night vision with infrared assistance. With all that to say, the question stands, Do I need a plate carrier to survive whatever we're up against right now? No, you don't need one to survive. But if you plan on standing up for others and not just yourself, then you want to hold yourself to a professional standard. What are the professionals in charge of keeping people safe doing? That's what I'm interested in. Specifically the setting where they are not being deployed to some foreign environment. We're talking about right here at home. What do the top guys do when they need to keep people safe who are unarmed and unable to provide support? So if you're going to hold yourself to a professional standard and train like a professional and put into practice what the professionals recommend, then that's when I would say go ahead and get a quality plate carrier and don't waste your time with the LARPing airsoft gear. It's only a waste of money if you don't train in it, you don't use it, and you don't prepare to operate efficiently in it. And again, if this is some kind of knee-jerk reaction for you and you think this is going to give you some kind of peace of mind for your readiness to be able to handle a threat, you are sadly mistaken. So because of the amount of friends that are in my inbox asking me questions related to this topic specifically and others related to it, I'm going to be utilizing this channel to put together an organized response to all of the questions, because it's the same dozen questions every single time something crazy pops off. So it's just getting worse and worse by the day, and I would prepare accordingly.